Alright. I'm going to cut this. Got this here. This is what I want to get into. Okay, so Alex Collier talking about the Reptilian-Lyrian War. This guy came across some of this guy's videos. I just wanted to just dive into it a little bit, see what I don't know. Just get into it a little bit. This is some crazy
because right now this is where the battle is between light and dark. You've got the grays over us, you've got the reptilians underneath us, and between us you've got humanity of the human. You've got the American people, I mean all of the world, but you've got humanity sandwiched in the middle, wondering what the hell is going on.
I want to talk to you about Lyra. I want to talk to you about what
So that's basically where I'm at. What the hell is going on?
happened in Lyra and how we, the human race, colonized our galaxy. Now, apparently what happened was, based on the age of the suns and the planets and the probable length of stability,
This video looks crazy. So
it was
I'm gonna make
decided
smaller.
that in our galaxy, the human life form was to be created in the system we know as Lyra. Now, apparently we lived there, the human race lived there for approximately 40 million years, was evolving, living, building. Apparently what happened was that primarily the human race was agricultural in Lyra, in nature. Apparently we were very plentiful, very abundant, and we lived in peace. Then one day, huge craft appeared in the sky. And a large ship came out of one of the large, what we now know as motherships, approached one of the planets. Its name was called Bila, B-I-L-A, Bila, actually, which I guess is a Lyran word. And reptilians got out from Alpha Draconis. Now, apparently the Alpha Draconans and the Lyrans were afraid of each other. However, as I told you yesterday, the Draconans apparently were the very first race in our galaxy to have space travel. And they've had this capability for 4 billion years. Well, apparently when they came and they saw this world with a lot of humans on it, that was agricultural, that had an abundance of food and other natural resources, the Draconans wanted to control it. And my understanding is that there was a miscommunication, a misunderstanding. The Lyrans, in turn, said, well, you want us to help you. I'm paraphrasing this whole long story because I've only got just a few minutes. Apparently, the Lyrans wanted to know more about the Draconians before they offered their assistance, before they offered help. Well, misunderstood the Lyrans' intent to want to know more about who these beings were. And what the Draconans did was they took it as a refusal. And they went back up to their ship and they attacked. In Lyra, there were 14 inhabited planets. When they attacked, the Lyrans were basically defenseless. Now, they did have some space travel that was capable of going between the different planets in the system, but nothing really long-term. They couldn't just, go across the galaxy. So what happened was, when they attacked primarily these 3 planets. These are the only 3 that the Andromedans have made a real statement about. These 3 planets were completely destroyed.
Damn.
50 million Lyrans were slaughtered.
Only 50 million on 3 planets?
It is here that the Draconans began to look at us as a food source.
Oh, shit.
this is how old this struggle is between the reptilian races and the human races.
Okay. I'm just gonna need to go a little bit deeper on this. Bro, what? Alright. This is definitely not him. So, okay, this is the one we're looking for. Let's just get into more videos of this guy, I think, right?
What is up, YouTube? What is up, family? We got a Patreon request. We got.
Okay. That's not it. What? Okay, this is annoying. This guy's doing good work, I guess, but like... Alright. What else about this guy? During the 80s, including prolonged stay aboard. Okay, I have a book that kind of talks about certain things like this. Reports receiving insights about the universe from beings he calls Andromedans, suggesting there are far more galaxies than conventional science acknowledges. Okay. We're just going to go back here. We're just going to find more of this guy. That was a good little video, though. Nice. He's just there doing that still. The moon. There's one he was talking about the moon. Alright, let's just get into it. So, I haven't really watched any of these. I kind of just wanted to do it like this, just to share what I'm learning, because I'm going to watch this and paraphrase things later, and it's just not going to be the same. So, I feel like, we can just look at this together. I don't know. At least I'll have it like recorded then in case these videos get like destroyed, because this has 20 subscribers on this video. That's 202 views, and it's been 14 years. So like this might just not exist.
Thank you. I don't need that. Just turn it off. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I want to thank Global Sciences for inviting me here.
Sorry, if you don't like
Dean,
it, it's fine.
I want to thank all of you for coming.
I'm just going to get into this.
I'm wired everywhere. And I want to thank my wife, because if it wasn't for her, I would not be speaking any longer. I want to just give you a brief background on how this all started for me. I grew up, for the most part, in Elk Grove Village, Illinois, and my grandparents had a cabin up in Woodstock, Michigan, which is in northern Michigan. And we were up there in August of 1964, and I experienced this in time. We had gone out to play into the fields, and I laid down in the tall grass, and I can remember throwing chestnuts out of the way to create a place for myself to lay. And when I fell asleep, and when I woke up, it was almost going on 9 o'clock. And I remember getting up and running back to the picnic area where the family was, and there was a police dog, a Michigan State police car there, and my folks and cousins, because it was kind of a family thing because everybody goes back to school. And I got the tar licked out of me for disappearing, and I told them where I had been, and they didn't believe me, so I took them back to where I was with the flashlights, and sure enough, there was my body imprint, and they swore they had been all through that area looking for me. It wasn't until age 14 that I actually understood what had happened then. I went to bed. It was just a normal night. It was in October. When I woke up, and there were two men looking down at me, and they were
human beings, except they have no hair. And their skin is light blue, or at least Morine, the very large one. His skin is light blue. Phaseus is the elderly one, and I'll give you a brief background on them. Has turned white because of his age, but they are blue-skinned. They say that they are our cousins, and that we actually have some of their genetics inside of us. They originally came from Lyra, as all human life did in our galaxy. Human life does exist in other galaxies as well. And there's a lot going on.
Okay.
There's a lot going on. Okay. I was taken out of bed many times. I was given information, I was given physicals, I was given brain scans, I was shown, they put a little cap on my head and they showed me who I was in past lives and my direct connection to them and my connection to the earth. And then there were no more contacts after age 14. There was one at 16, but it was a physical. I was not awakened. It wasn't until 1985 that the contacts started again on a regular basis. Sorry about that. Okay. Now, just to give you an idea of where I was in 1985, I had worked for a few years for the Internal Revenue Service. I had been a tax collector, and I was assigned to and I'm ashamed to say it, but I was a good tax collector. And for the lady and the people who were talking about the IRS, I'm just going to give you this while it's hot and it's fresh. I was assigned to a task force that was supposed to do undercover work for oil company fraud. And our training was to be in Washington, D.C., and while I was there, I used my security pass to get into the National Archives. You're not allowed to really make copies of things when you're in the National Archives unless your security clearances was much higher than what mine was. And I'm going to tell you this as having been with the Internal Revenue Service. The Internal Revenue Service is a Puerto Rican trust. It is a 3-tier trust. I don't know what the third tier is, which is the bottom line, but it's Internal Revenue Service, Puerto Rican Trust, Trust number 62, and I can't tell you what the third one is because it wasn't there.
I have that information.
Great. People need to know. Also, none of the federal income tax laws are actually in the Federal Register, therefore they are not laws. They are codes. You also need to be aware of that. Anyway, I left the Internal Revenue Service and I opened up my own accounting practice. I started helping people with IRS collection problems because that's not something that you can learn going to tax school or going.
Okay, so basically this guy was like pretty normal childhood, some weird stuff. He got visited, just living in like a super boring life, like accounting, IRS shit. Very normal, just, typical guy.
Federal government. It just is not. There is a much bigger scheme going on here. And it involves extraterrestrials who are interested in us as souls. You might refer to the Bible, you might refer to whatever texts or religion you have, but there definitely is a battle of good and evil going on out there, and part of it has to do with us.
I mean, I feel like I just talked about that with my astral planes. This is the same kind of situation I think he's talking about.
And our solar system because of its location and the minerals that are here. The regressives, and we're going to talk a little bit about that after I show you the moon pictures, don't give a damn about us. We are a natural resource. Okay? Be really clear when I say this. We are a natural resource to them. They don't care who you are inside. They don't care. As far as the federal government, we watched the movie Rob Roy the other night, and there was a line in that movie that sums it up perfectly. The government believes truth to be a lie undiscovered. But that's really where it's at. That's really where it's at. They are so screwed up that I don't believe they even really remember what the bottom line is now. Okay. If some of you are familiar with Hoagland's information, I think Richard does a good job, but I'm just going to share with you a personal experience that I had with Richard in Los Angeles. I was speaking in Los Angeles. I've spoken along the West Coast quite a bit, in Texas. And there was somebody from Showtime who was doing a private screening in a hotel room of the movie Roswell, the Showtime movie Roswell they put together. Well, I was invited to go in there. Well, Richard was sitting in the back on a chair. And I'm not reading any more into this. I'm just sharing with you my experience with him one-on-one. I sat down to him and I just looked him straight in the eye, and he didn't have a clue who I was. And I said, Richard, why don't you tell people that the moon is an artificial satellite? And he just looked at me and he says, I'm not ready to.
Damn. So he's talking about how the moon's an artificial satellite. The moon, as it is a real thing, not what we think it is.
Right?
Holy shit.
That's my personal experience. It's the only one I have. I think his information is good. But I'm telling you, from my own experience, he's withholding. And I don't understand why he's withholding.
I can verify that.
Okay? Because you, me, our children,
people in the room
our
are saying they can
grandchildren,
verify
and our
that?
grandchildren are the ones at stake here. You know, we don't have anywhere else to go. We don't have any place to hide. This planet is our home. It's our home. And I'm just trying to help. I only have a piece of the puzzle. I don't have the whole puzzle. I think if I did, I'd be dead long time ago. But I'm going to share with you stuff that I have been guided to that's on the far side of the moon. I don't deal with the visible side. Because as the right hand is moving here, the left hand's doing something else. Well, the left hand is the far side of the moon.
Okay.
If you remember the movie Apollo 13, if you remember the movie Apollo 13, what? Move over? Oh, it's the lights. Okay. If you remember the movie Apollo 13, all hell's broken loose. They don't know if they're getting home. But they were so concerned about checking out and taking pictures of the far side of the moon. And here they are, they can't get home, but their focus wasn't on getting home, it was seeing what was on the far side of the moon. That is a true enactment, folks. Now I'm going to show you some...
Alright. How do I get... They really don't want me to see all this shit. So, we're going to have to go one by one here. Oh, here we go. Here we go, part 2.
Apollo 13, what? But their focus wasn't on getting home, it was seeing what was on the far side of the moon. That is a true enactment, folks. Now I'm going to show you some of the things that are there. Now so you may have trouble adjusting your eyes to seeing some of this. Some of the things you will not have any trouble whatsoever. These photographs, I was told specifically where to look, were taken by the Lunar Orbiter 4 from August of 1966 to August of 1967. They show so much.
So, I think he's going to kind of address why we haven't gone back to the moon. At least that's what I'm hoping. Seems like it. Seems like that's where he's going with
If
this.
you know what you're looking for, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You know, and there's no way our astronauts miss this stuff. There's just no way.
Yeah, they know
21-mile bridges, 7-mile monuments, ships sitting in the middle of craters. I mean, you know, you're going to see it. Okay? I'll tell you what the Andromedans, Morine and Theseus have said about the moon.
This is so old.
I want to take questions, so I want to get through this. They have said that our moon is an artificial satellite. In fact, it is a spacecraft. Much of the debris on the surface was put there and was built purposely to make it look like what it isn't. Okay, it is hollow, it is metal underneath it, and it has the ability to leave our orbit under its own power.
What?
They say it came from Ursa Minor, from a solar system that would have the symbol or would have the name in our language of Chauta. It was one of 4 moons that rotated around the 17th planet. Now, it was built. This sounds just like Star Wars. It was built around that 17th planet. It was then put into the tail of a comet and then dragged here. And when it got to this area, it removed itself, and the first place it parked itself in our solar system was the planet that we now know of as Moldak, which is the asteroid belt. It was one of 2 moons that belonged there. Moldak was the first inhabited planet in our solar system. It was very much like Earth. Mars and our planet were terraformed from Moldak, or Molona, or whatever name you want to call it. It was terraformed. In other words, all the plant life and everything that is on the surface and animal life was brought here.
I just have to like sit with that for a sec. Okay. I don't know what his like credibility is. I don't know what kind of sources he has for this, but I don't really care. This is that good shit that I get into. He's clearly like giving a lecture in front of like other people. He's wearing a suit. Like, I don't know. I like the like wild shit. I like the whole like the moon isn't real. Earth and Mars were terraformed from a planet that doesn't exist anymore. We're all aliens. So let's just keep going. This is fucked up.
You know, science tells us that, you know, everything started with a single cell. The Andromedans laughed at that. You know?
Yeah.
And Phaseus said to me, well, if that's true, then how does that one cell know to become a brain cell and a kidney cell? I couldn't answer him, because I don't know. He says it isn't possible.
Yeah.
Our solar system has been engineered. Built and engineered. Okay? The whole solar system. We're going to get into some more of that, but I want to get going on the slides.
So this is the shit that, okay, because you look at, I've looked into like flat Earth, and they're on like part of it resonates in a sense where they're like everything we're being told about like space, solar system, the moon, what Earth is, what we're doing here, where we are in the universe is all kind of a lie, and he's kind of touching on that too. I almost believe what he's saying more, just because it's so crazy. But like saying our whole solar system's engineered. That like this is giving me like that feeling in my brain of like I feel like he's onto something. What it is, I don't know. We'll just
Honey,
keep going.
you want to come up and help us with that? Let's see.
I know he's got like slides and stuff too coming. So.
Okay, according to the Andromedans, now folks, I just want you to keep an open mind. You know, I'm not asking you to believe this. I'm sharing information with you. If you choose not to believe it, hey, that's fine. I ask you to exercise your free will.
Nice.
And if this gets too much for you and you don't want to listen, I've already checked. None of these chairs have seatbelts. You can absolutely leave.
Yeah, this guy.
I will not be offended.
This guy rocks. I'm like the reason I'm believing him too. He's like, all right, this is crazy stuff. If it's fucked up, you don't have to pay attention. You don't have to believe it. But this is just what I need to talk about. This is the shit I like, because like you get information like this, you're not gonna like force people to listen to you because you know it's nuts. You're gonna just let it. You're just gonna get it out, and hopefully people can catch on to like the truth vibration that you're like sending out. And this shit is like I never heard of this guy before. This is the first time. This is like 30 years old. This has been on YouTube for 16 years and has under 3,000 views. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. So, yeah,
I like
we're just
doing
gonna
this
keep
anyway.
going.
I would much rather stay home and raise a family. Okay, but I made a promise, and you know we want to have a family, and you know I have pieces of the puzzle, and if I don't do anything about it, then I'm just as guilty as the NSA astronauts and the Russian astronauts that have been on the moon and been on Mars since 1958. Okay, lights please. There we go.
All right.
Okay, our galaxy. Let me raise it up.
We just gotta kind of be patient. This is some old
And then we
tech
need
they're
something,
using.
a videotape
The
or
fact that
something
this
for
is
the-
recorded and taped at all, but
That's good. That's it.
yeah, we're just gonna have to roll with this here. So that's our
Okay, we
galaxy.
can lower that. No, here.
There's- and these guys aren't like super young at this time, so like this is all new technology to them. They're trying to figure it out.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, according to the Andromedans, space travel has existed in our galaxy for 4.4 billion years. Okay, we are literally the new kids on the block. All right? Now, what's interesting about our galaxy is all right. Space travel has existed for 4.4 billion years. The interesting thing about our galaxy is the fact that we have many different races living here. In particular, the human race, which we are a member of, and what we call the reptilian races, which we are not a part of, but who very much don't like us, like the human race. Apparently this battle that's been going on has been going on for approximately 3.8 billion years between reptilian races and human races. Many of the races that exist in our galaxy migrated originally from Lyra during a war. Apparently, sometime in our ancient past, a group of reptilians were exploring, looking for minerals, looking for food resources. They came across a star system that was full of human beings who were agricultural in their nature. Abundant food, they just had everything together. And the reptilian races, they're called the Seekar. In the Andromedan tongue, we know them, or we would know them as being known as the Draconans because they are from Alpha Draconis. And apparently they as a race were brought to our galaxy fully formed. Nobody knows where they came from or who dumped them there. But they were put there because it gave them the highest probability of survival. Well, they're a remarkable race. They're incredible builders, but they have an attitude problem. And that is that they believe that they are the dominant species and they control everything else. And they are also master geneticists. They value genetics, not gold or silver. They have no interest in that. It's life forms.
So it kind of sounds eerily similar to Nazis.
Try to control life forms through
Genetics,
manipulating
master
their
race,
genetics.
all that stuff.
We have also been subject to that. I'm going to try to cover a lot here. Anyway, there was a war. They were attacked. Many of the human races fled to Antares, to the Pleiades, to Cygnus Alpha, to Andromeda, to Cassiopeia, to Sirius, to Procreon, all over. They just scattered to the winds, trying to survive. Next slide, please.
So
This
there's
is where
predators.
our small
predators.
little
Fuck.
area is located. That which we see in the sky, this is where it's located. As you can see, we are in the sticks, the boonies. We really are. And this is why we've been manipulated and messed with so much as a planet and as a race. Because we have been, for the most part, considered insignificant. And then roughly 5,000 years ago, somehow they found out that we were no longer insignificant, and I will tell you why. According to the Andromedans, in our physical form right now, in our genetics, we have within us the DNA of 22 different extraterrestrial races who have come down here and manipulated, who have bred with us, who have tinkered with us, everything imaginable. And that somehow we have all this inside of us. Plus the fact that we're coupled with spirit. And this is something that the Greys have a major problem with. And I will cover that as well. Now, because we are the only race in our galaxy that has these genetics of 22 different races. Because we are also spirit, they consider us royalty. The Andromedans consider us as royalty. Now, one of the factors that they look at, and the thing that totally awes them the most, is the fact that many of the more advanced races use technology to create things.
So, I just need to unpack a little bit of that. So, cause since we have all the genetics of 22 different races, and we have spirit too, we're like looked up, we're like highly looked upon, we're kind of important, is what these aliens, or not, I don't even want to call them aliens, but the Andromedans have been telling this guy. That's nuts. And I feel like the psyop of like us being, oh, we're insignificant, we're just, you know, we just come from evolution, we just evolved from monkeys, and now we just happen to be monkeys with, guns and technology. It's like, nah, I think there's much deeper things at play. And that kind of goes along with what this guy's saying. Alex was kind of talking about just, like, there's something we radiate. There's something we have within us that whatever's occupying this physical body, whatever spirit, soul, whatever, is significant. I think it's an important thing. And yeah, I don't know. Let's just get more. I just need
to manifest things. The Andromedans are heavily use holographics. Whatever they need, they create holographically. It is physically there, but when they're done with it, they turn off the switch and it's gone. It doesn't just sit there. All right? Like if you go home and your couch, you go away for a year, that couch sits right there. They are amazed at how much energy we put into creating things. Just things. Little tchotchkes that you put on the shelf, books. All those things take an intense amount of energy to create. They're amazed that we have this ability. The other thing that amazes them is they're also amazed at how easily we can allow our own kind to starve, to go homeless, and to kill each other. They do not understand that at all. And destroy our environment. One experience, I'll give you two experiences. One experience was with Visayas. I had just come up on board, and I was being led into a room, and Visayas had been watching a television transmission from Chicago, and policemen had just shot a black man that was running away. And then the policeman apparently ran over and tried to save his life. Okay? Visayas turns to me and he says, I don't understand your race. I don't understand why one would try to take his life and then the next minute try to save it. I didn't have an answer. In fact, many times I don't have an answer. Another time, I came on board. I was living in Lake Arrowhead at the time, and Mornay was looking at a group of meters on the ceiling of a ship, and it was all about the ozone and the air, oxygen content in our atmosphere. And he looked very distressed, and I said, "What's the matter?" And he said, "Don't they understand that all of this is here because they need it? They don't understand how we can just so carelessly destroy our environment." Now, folks, I want to share something with you. If there was not divine intervention, which apparently there has been, March 23rd of 1994, if there has not been divine intervention, and I will cover that, according to the Andromedans, we would only have 41 years left worth of oxygen in our environment. 3,500 years ago, the oxygen content, they say, was at fluctuated between 35 and 38% between the North and South poles. Today, at its highest level, it's less than 18%. Now, those of you who took biology, what happens to the human form when oxygen as a gas goes below 15%? We die. We suffocate. This is reality, folks. This is reality. This is not Peter Jennings. Okay? This, you know, I mean, we don't have anywhere else to go. You know, and for those, and this is just what I've been told, and for those of you who think there's going to be a rapture, you might be disappointed. And I'm not saying this to question your belief. I'm just telling you that there are much bigger forces going on here. Okay, next slide, please. Save the question, sir, for later, okay, please? Next slide, please. Okay, this is our solar system. There is life in all of these systems surrounding us. They have been coming here for years. For years they've been coming here. Okay, mythology, there's a shred of truth in all of it. The work that Zecharia Sitchin is doing, an absolutely fantastic book is called The Gods of Eden by William Bramley. I would suggest that those of you who have not read it, go get it in paperback version. It'll bring you right up to speed right away. It's wonderful. And he's not a UFO person, which is why I enjoyed it even more. All the truths, just let him right to it. In fact, there are more truths. We wake up, the game's over. They cannot control us. And if you look at our past history, if you read Zecharia Sitchin's books, we as a race, when we stand together, rebel against the gods, the ETs. We rebel because they have been, pardon my French, shitting on us for thousands and thousands and thousands of years and holding us back. Next slide, please. Okay, here's Earth. If we could just get a focus, thanks, honey. This is what's left of Maldek. You know the series of planets. The moon is not the only artificial. There are 9 artificial moons in our solar system, and I will share with you later what those are. I just want to cover a lot of information. Okay, next slide. Okay. Okay, this is the typical and traditional picture. Does that look focused to you?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it doesn't. Okay. This is the traditional picture that we see of Earth. We got an awesome home, folks. It's one of the nicest ones around. But there are some things about our planet that have been withheld from us. For example, our Earth is, in fact, hollow. Nice. It is hollow. The next slide, I'm going to show you a NASA photograph that proves that there's an opening at the North Pole.
Yo.
Okay? You can find...
This guy's hitting everything. This guy's hitting everything right now. Fake moon, satellite, fucking reptilian overlords, hollow Earth. Like, oh shit, man. Spirits, our souls. Oh, man.
This photograph in a book called Our Violent Universe by Nigel Calder. It was first released in England, and I don't know how this one slipped through the cracks, but it did. Thank goodness.
They're trying to control this.
We are told that the gravity of our planet has to do with the rotation. According to the Andromedans and their science, the radiation of the sun is what causes gravity on planets. And any body...
The radiation from the sun causes gravity. What?
Planetary body that is approximately 29.3 miles or larger is capable of sustaining gravity because of the radiations of the sun. Now, I realize that flies right in the face of what we've been taught.
Way over my head, but
well,
all right.
Again, I'm just here sharing with you. If you were to go from the surface, from downstairs to the parking lot, go approximately 821 miles, you would reach a huge open cavern. It does not literally have a sun in it, but apparently they are electrons, and as they go through the surface of the planet, they break down to their finest point, which is light. And that, at the very center of the planet inside, is the strongest force of gravity, and that is why they collect, and that is what is literally the aurora borealis. It is these electrons, these particles, coming out of the top once they have totally broken down, which is why it's almost in a circle. Almost always in a circle. Next slide.
Bro,
Okay,
what?
right here. This is just north of Greenland. This is exactly where Admiral Byrd said he flew in.
Okay.
Right there.
Oh, shit.
This was taken in 1979. Now, you mean to tell me the Gemini, the Mercury astronauts, the Apollo astronauts, when they came back, they missed this? I don't think so. I don't think so. If you can get your hands on the book, there's a color photograph. This is a photograph from the book. It is, folks, it's there. Whoops, there it is. It's there. Next slide, please. Okay, our moon.
Sick.
Our moon is quite the enigma. Apparently, our moon was brought here 11,213 years ago. To
Holy
be
shit. Okay.
exact, in the month of March. That we know is the month of March.
And it's March right now.
It came here
There's
as a base.
synchronicities happening.
Okay,
Blood
as
moon,
a
full
ship
moon right
carrying
now. Okay.
ETs. They were coming here to colonize. They did, in fact, colonize. In fact, many of what's left of them are living underground in our planet from 100 miles to 200 miles beneath the surface. Now, I've gotten a lot of crap for talking about this, but I'm just not going to shut up.
Hell yeah.
The beings that brought this satellite here to our planet in the last 25 years are responsible for over 31,000 children disappearing from the surface. And I don't know if you're paying attention, but over 100,000 children a year are vanishing.
So okay. Obviously, your mind goes to like Jeffrey Epstein, this like weird child trafficking system with the global elites. It also goes to like the missing 411 that we did on the main pod, the Bigfoot stuff. Like, there's probably these like other ET races that fucking kidnap people into the hollow earth at all these cave systems.
The face of the earth. And folks, they're being taken out of here.
Being taken to the moon?
And the governments know. The world governments know.
Oh, they're in
All
on
right,
it.
and we're going to cover that.
We know they're in on it.
Next slide, please. Okay, did our astronauts really go there? I know that there's been a lot of talk that maybe they didn't go there because of anomalies and a lot of talk that maybe they didn't go there because of anomalies and pictures. Many of the pictures were faked because the pictures that the astronauts took, there was stuff all over the place. They couldn't hide it.
Yeah, this is my theory too of like, okay, the moon landing, people we've most likely been to the moon, but the footage, the pictures you see are not real. Those have been faked. 100%. Without a doubt, in my mind, this is like some fake crap. Bunch of bull crap. Alright? Alright, just a sec. I gotta grab some water. Alright, let's keep it going.
Yes, they did go. But yes, there's been a manipulation of other things put in there that supposedly looks like our astronauts. So, we have to use common sense when we look at these things. The next slide, please. Did our astronauts see things? Absolutely. Mornay has told me that the United States government, just our government, has at least 53 of its own UFOs, flying saucers, that are stationed on the moon, on the far side. And I'm going to show you where he says they are. It's in one of the slides. They did, but they were told to shut up, not say anything. Many astronomers who have been taking a look at the moon, many of the lunar rovers and the cars that they drove have disappeared. They're no longer there. Well, they just didn't get up and float away. Okay, the moon has got gravity. Especially on the far side, it's got gravity. Mornay has told me that if you take Copernicus crater and you stood at the bottom, that the gravity is equal to that of Chicago. As if you were standing in Chicago. Because again, it is not the rotation. It is apparently the sunlight. The sun's radiation that creates gravity. This is what they say. Now, our our moon does not turn on its axis. It rotates around the Earth, but we primarily just see one side, or only 59% of it. By the way, our moon's the only one that does that.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
You know, it's the only one. Next slide, please. Okay, this was taken out of National Geographic. This was in the early 1950s. This was NASA's idea of what moon bases would look like. They, in fact, did do this and create this in February of 1958. So when Kennedy said, you know, we are going to send man to the moon, part of our government, primarily the NSA, was already there. They were already there. Now, folks, you don't hear much about the Russian space program. But let me tell you something. They are a major player, and they are also here. And they don't work for us. Neither does the NSA. They work for international bankers who are the new priesthoods for extraterrestrials. And we're going to cover that. Next slide, please. Okay.
I'm speechless.
According to the Andromedans, there were primarily 9 huge dome cities on the moon.
Yeah.
The front and the back. They housed up to 5 million extraterrestrials at one time. There was water, there was vegetation, there was everything they needed. Okay, and these covered hundreds of miles. You know, so when Richard shows you the pictures of the things, you know, the shards, so many miles tall, 9, 10, 15 miles, whatever it is, he's right. He's absolutely right. You know, but there's more. There's more. Okay, next slide. Okay.
Yeah,
this is
here
along
we
the
go.
equator on the far side of the moon. This is what's left of a pyramid.
And they just found
There are
stuff like
4
this on
pyramids
Mars
on the
too.
moon.
I mean, we've all seen it before.
Okay, now I can assure you that the pharaohs, just to practice, did not take the Hebrew or the ivory up here, build one, then bring it back and do it right in Egypt. Didn't happen. According to the Andromedans, almost all the planets in our solar system have pyramids on it. Some have more. I've asked why. Some people say they're tombs. The Andromedan perspective is that these are weights. And what they do is you put them in a strategic location, it balances the rotation of the planet. It doesn't keep it from wobbling, which means that if the ETs are there colonizing, there's no major fluctuations in weather and gravity.
Bro, what?
Gravity anomalies as well as the electromagnetic field, which is around every single planet. It has to be balanced. That's what these are for. That's why Giza is directly dead center of the landmass on planet Earth.
Dude.
Next slide, please.
Okay. I've never heard that theory before. I've never heard that explanation of like what the pyramids do. Their weights, they balance the Earth's rotation. They balance the electromagnetic like field. That's, because they're not that big, but like, if you have the Earth has a shit ton though. If you have enough of them, it's gonna make a difference. Well, man, there's a lot to unpack here. I don't think I can do this all 12 of these, but we'll get halfway through.
Folks, I want you to focus on this area right here. I want you to focus on this structure.
We're going to just work through these here, I
here.
think, for a while.
For those of you who are architects, please feel free to, say something about this. This area right here, you can see the curves, the angles. There's another bridge here. I want you to notice these lit up objects inside the bottom of the crater. We've got a close-up of it. Next slide, please.
Clearly structures.
Okay, here's another bridge. Apparently this is inhabited by extraterrestrials from Orion. These are, I'm told, are domes.
I see that.
Does everybody see this? Okay.
I can see that.
I'm also told that this is a road that goes into here. There's an elevator that goes up to this area here. And when they land, they take an elevator or something down, and then they can walk, because there's atmosphere on the far side of the moon. which is why the astronauts took pictures of clouds. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, the snow job that we've been given. It's nothing what we've been told it is. Nothing. Right. Next slide, please. Okay.
Man, they really
I want you to
don't want me to know
focus
how magical
on
this fucking universe is.
Let me just turn off one. I want you to focus on this area right here. Now, I realize this might be difficult, but I do have a close-up. This is a crater, and there is a structure that comes across it. You can see the sun coming through this way. You can see it shining right here underneath, and you can see this is still in the shade. This structure here. This is a 21-mile long bridge. Next slide, please.
Yo.
Here.
Yo.
I'm always updating. I'm always trying to get clearer pictures. This is 21 miles. Now, you may not see it. You may have to adjust your eyes. I know this isn't easy, but this is it right here. Okay? You can see the sun shining through here. Now, we didn't build this. And how is it that our astronauts missed this?
Yeah.
21 miles. That's from here to almost to Boulder.
Wait, where the hell is he? Is he in Denver? What the fuck? Okay, this is like too much. Yeah, this guy loves talking shit. So he's like in Colorado. Cause I was just thinking the exact same thing of like, oh, that's like from here to like Boulder. That's crazy. Okay.
Next
I'm
slide.
like, oh, fuck. I'm like losing my mind. The synchronicities are really fucking with me right now.
Just sitting there parked. This was taken by the Lunar Orbiter in 1966.
Yeah, that's definitely something right there.
Next slide. Now, isn't it interesting that we're told that the craters were created by meteorite impact, or incessant meteorite bombardment? I just love that. Okay? And yet, you have full-fledged mountains in the dead center of these craters. Many of them are even higher than the crater walls. Folks, that's just not possible. It is not possible. You have craters that are 30 to 40 miles in diameter. The deepest one is only 7,000 feet. That is also an absolute impossibility.
Yeah.
Richard talks about his dome structures, okay, that had some kind of a glass on it. Right here. I believe, and I'm told that this is what's left of one of Richard's domes, that he has a picture of them, you know, with the long shards and the pieces hanging off. This is what's left of it. As you can see, there's a shiny spot of the glass tickered in, but that's what this is right here. This apparently also was a domed city, but it was destroyed by particle beam weapons between what we now know as the Orion group and a group from the Pleiades. This happened approximately 9,600 years ago. Full-out war here. Next slide, please. Okay, I want you to just check out this area here. All these structures, look at these. Apparently these are hangars. This is a complex that is inhabited by human beings from Earth. Also want you to look at this object. I'm trying to get a better picture of what this large structure is. But what's really interesting about this area here and this is look at nice how sharp this crater is. The corners here. Very nice and sharp. Here. Very nice and sharp. Next slide. This is, I just wanted to show you this structure here. This is absolutely not supposed to be there, and apparently it is the ruins of a ship that was destroyed 9,600 years ago. Next slide.
9,600 years.
Piece of shard.
So,
It's 2 miles. 2 miles tall.
Piece of what?
Shard, piece of metal. Next slide, please. Okay. On this photograph, I want you to just take in the landscape. Okay? I want you to take in the landscape of what you see here. Now, I want you to look, focus in on this area right here. I want you to look at this area here, and I want you to compare it to the rest of the landscape. Just focus your eyes for a minute. Okay? I want you to focus on this area, and then the rest of the landscape. What's unusual about this area right here? Anything else? Maybe the way these things are all lined up together, nice and neat, and then these structures right back here. Next slide. Okay, here's another picture of it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that just looks like a little village, huh?
Is that a monument there, that dark shadow?
This here? No, that's an arrow. That's my arrow. Okay. This area here, I have been told by the Sayers and Mornay both, is a base that was built by the United States, the Russians, and the British with the help of bankers, using technology that was given to this elite, this ruling family, by the Greys in 1954.
We know what they mean. We know what they know about what they're saying when they say bankers. We know what they're talking about when they say the bankers. Okay.
They've been up here a long time, and this is actually considered a
We know
resort.
who that is.
This is not Club Med. Next slide. More ruins down here, here, and in here. These are not supposed to be here. These are pieces of spacecraft apparently that were destroyed 9,600 years ago in a war that took place in our solar system. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the same structures I showed you earlier. Here's some more ruins. Now I want you to look at this area right here. This apparently is what's left of a dome, one of the dome structures. And these pieces that you have on the inside are pieces of the roof that just fell to the floor of the dome.
Shattered dome.
You can look, you can see it, you can see there's a circumference. Here's part of the wall that's fallen down this way, okay, and here is part of the dome that is still intact. If we go to the next slide, you might see a little better, but we'll have to focus it right here. Well, maybe not. Okay, this was also destroyed in that war 9,600 years ago. Next slide, please.
I like to see the comments sometimes.
And if you can see this, this is very light. This is a piece of a bridge that crossed this crater where half of it's gone and half of it is just still standing there. I don't know exactly how many miles across this is.
There's just these ruins.
But again,
everywhere.
how did our astronauts miss this? Next slide, please. Okay, these are more ruins. I myself have even had trouble seeing some of the things in this, but they've been very strong about this particular area, so I felt it was important to include it and just share with you because maybe somebody in here will see something more than what I see.
These craters are perfect.
You know, people often do, so I'm just trying to share it. These structures here, it's a weird place. Again, this is along the equator on the far side of the moon.
A lot of those craters have a rising piece in the middle.
Yes, sir, they do. Yes, sir, they do. And, you know, some...
They're like identical. Now this looks like something connecting them.
are full-fledged mountains, and they're just not supposed to be there. Next slide, please. Okay, now, look at this.
What the hell is that?
Okay. Honey, is that the best we can focus it? Okay, thanks. This area here apparently is a domed complex inside this crater, and I'm told that the world government picked this area because there's water underneath it. These are domes. These are a series of domes that are lit up from the inside.
Is that square thing the pyramid?
Which thing? This? This here? I don't know exactly what that is. It's not discernible in the pictures. You know, I think sometimes they purposely blur these just a little bit. Next slide, please. Here's another area in another crater. This is all lit up from the inside. Next slide.
There's plenty of shit.
The structure here. This piece, this thing here, this length of object, whatever it is 13 miles. And it's just sticking up outside, out of the crater. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, I want you to look at this area right here. Everybody see this area? Is that a yes? Okay. How many of you have been to the Sears Tower in Chicago? You ever been to the top? It's about a mile high, right? That's what they say. It's about a mile high. Next slide. Here it is again. Now, I want you to know these photographs were taken from this particular photograph was taken by the lunar orbiter at 86,000 feet. Okay? According to Morane, this is 7 miles high. And it's a monument to one of the old ETs. Next slide. Here's a close-up of it.
What kind of lizard?
Your suspicions are pretty accurate. Back up just one more time. Okay. Now let's look. Now just look at the rest of the terrain here. Okay. Look at the rest of the terrain and just look at how this sticks out. 7 miles. How come our astronauts missed it?
That's fucking
I mean, I hate to be
crazy.
redundant, but I'm just hoping somebody will have the answer. Next slide. Oh, we did that. Okay. One more time. Okay. This particular area, I'm told, is now being reactivated. They say, Warren and Faceas have said that all of this are ruins and that there are underground facilities all through this area. And I just wanted to share it with you because they're very strong about this particular area. And this is a dome that is apparently that was still left intact. Next slide. Square craters. Now I've asked Morane specifically, and he said there's no such thing as a square meteor. So, just one of them weird things. Next slide, please. Okay, craft sitting here, hanging over a crater. Next slide. These are all taken by the lunar orbiter. Weird crossed objects sitting in the middle of craters, dead center. Next slide. This was the photographer. Let's go one more slide. Okay, back up. Thank you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody else, I think George Leonard wrote this, somebody else is on the moon.
George Leonard, yeah.
George Leonard. Somebody else is absolutely living on the moon. I am told that there are 35,000 full-time human beings from Earth living on the moon. And they are Aryans by birth.
Damn, what?
Now let me just say that one more time. They are Aryans. Now let me just say that one more time. They are Aryans by birth.
What?
They are Aryans by birth.
So So I was kind of right before.
You're going to have to research one because if I come right out and say it, I'll get in deep trouble.
Damn.
Okay, Aryans by birth.
They're not.
They're also there with extraterrestrials. Between the moon and our Earth, there are 18,000 grays here. There are only apparently 2,000 real grays left. All the rest are clones. They're robots. They're organic robots. And
I think this is going to be the last one I can watch tonight. I'm going insane. We'll go through the rest of them too, just, next week. But
processors are grown in their head.
shit.
And they are controlled by some kind of a radio frequency. Now, the Greys and the Orions also have this technology to absolutely replicate and duplicate a human being. And for those of you who are familiar with the old Dr. Beater stuff, before he was killed in a parking lot in Dallas, I would suggest you go back and re-research that information. Except he was told the Russians were doing it, and they're not doing it. It's extraterrestrials who are doing it, who are trying to undermine the free will of those of us on the surface of the planet. Because this is our home.
That's like, there's so much he's saying that I can't unpack it all right away. But if you can kind of hear what he's saying, there's more to it than he is outright being the words he's saying. You know what I mean? Yeah, the shit he's talking about is
Mars. I'm still working on more
pretty scary
information, but I'm
stuff
going to
here.
show you a couple things and share things that I've been told about Mars. The first thing I want to share with you about Mars is that, again, everything we've been told about it is wrong. Mars' atmosphere is full
He's
of
getting into
oxygen and
Mars
ozone.
now.
In fact, the local San Diego paper on March 23rd of 1995 flat out said that in 1971 they had discovered it was full of ozone. Well, folks, you go to the library and you pull out any book that you can find on Mars written by any scientist on this planet, and they don't say virtually anything about ozone. But it's there. We're told that its actual gravity is about 1%. Well, if the atmosphere is so feeble, then how is it that it can have 300-mile-an-hour wind storms? If the atmosphere is so feeble, how is it that it can hold water at both poles? Next slide. Let's go next slide. I'm sorry. At both poles. And there's water at both poles. This is water, H2O. We're told that the Martian atmosphere never gets above 129 degrees below zero. And yet, this past February or March, you had a picture from the Hubble telescope of Mars and the North Polar Cap melting. Now, I'm not a scientist, but tell me, how does water melt at 129 degrees below zero? I'm open. I'm open. Okay, apparently Mars has been inhabited off and on as a base, as a small colony, as a staging point for extraterrestrials who are exploring and leaving our galaxy to go to another for 3.8 billion years. The ruins that Richard shows and other people, they're tombs. This is what I'm told, that they're tombs. And that there's far more there than is being shown. Most of it's been buried. Because during a war previous 69 million years ago, Mars was almost exactly like Earth. In fact, Mornay has said that many of the animal life that was on Mars is on Earth. That when we get there, when we as a race get there, publicly get there, we will find that there were dinosaurs. Many of the exact same animals and mammals and reptiles were on both our worlds. And that Mars had a totally different orbit. It was literally pulled from its orbit, and as it was pulled from its orbit by 19 million miles, it rolled like a ball 3 times. And the water that was here just moved everything. And that it's been reactivated. It was reactivated in 1989. Now, I did a lecture in Dallas.
Flood.
And I've been talking about this information for several years now. And I was told that in 1989, Orion troops landed on Mars and took over colonies that were settled, created there by Terrans, us, by human beings from Earth. They came in and just took it over. Now, this gentleman who approached me, and I'm just sharing this with you, said that his best friend's brother worked for Central Intelligence and was a director of NASA and resigned in 1991. He said that his brother told him that the meetings on Malta, on the ship, just off the coast of Malta between Gorbachev and Bush, were about what was going on Mars and that they were scared to death. Now, folks, I got to share this with you. The beings that are here from Orion, they're into control. They're into control. There is no such thing as self-rule in the Orion Empire. There's a hierarchy. Now, if you look at our planet, if you really look at what's going on our planet right now, there's only one nation that truly cherishes self-rule and actually has real experience in self-rule. That's the U.S. And we're armed to the hilt because our Constitution says we can be. This is why the focus is on destroying the United States of America.
Oh, shit.
Okay, the UN, the World Order, all of that stuff, they're all taking orders from ETs, and they're scared to death. But they are willing to sacrifice this nation. They are willing to kill 3.5 to 4 billion people to maintain their place as the new priesthoods. This is Sumeria, this is Egypt all over again. But on a much grander scale. Because now you've got 6 billion people living here.
So, fuck. What?
If the people of this nation surrender the Bill of Rights by 1998, folks, you will no longer have the United States of America. That's a guarantee. That's a guarantee. This is the reason the Andromedans are coming back. Because 317 years into our future, our galaxy is in tyranny. And they have traced, through time travel, all the events that lead to the single point that shifted the energy from free to tyranny. Now, we're not just talking about free, we're talking also on a spiritual level. Suppression, oppression of soul, of spirit. And they have traced it all back to our solar system, which is why many races are coming back and they're saying, hey, wait, this isn't going to work.
So he's talking about time travel too. So they're traveling back in time, and something about where we are in space and time is important. There's something they're trying to change. They're trying to shift things. That's that Mandela effect. That's the fucking...
Here. There is no such thing as freedom.
Oh, man.
And we somehow are dead square in the middle of this thing. Sorry for the news. But we are. This is the only reason they're bothering. Next slide. Save your questions, please. Write them down, okay? You all know about the face, or most of you, I'm sure, do. Yeah. There is a lot more in this area that needs to be explored. Those of you who are researchers, please get pictures of not the face, but go north, where the mountains are. Okay? There are ruins everywhere. There are domes collapsed on top of themselves. In fact, there's one that's still there that looks like Texas Stadium in Dallas with the opening in the middle. It's there. It's there. Next slide. I just put this in because everybody's interested in the physics. I'm not a physics person. But it is important because it all matches up. You know, there are symbols in all of this. In fact, I want to share with you about crop circles. I've asked a lot of questions about crop circles, and I'm told that there are two groups leaving crop circles. There's the Andromedan Council, which is made up of 139 different races, which is putting encoded information into the Earth to help stabilize it from Earth calamities. They're trying to buy us time. And many of the other crop circles that are being left by Orion. Now, where are they coming from? They're coming from Hale-Bopp. Hale-Bopp. Hale-Bopp is not a comet.
Hale-Bopp. Alright, I can't start watching any more of these videos, but holy shit, man. I don't even know what to say. There's so much. All these videos have like one comment. Yeah. So basically, these world elites are working with these ETs, these draconian, these monsters basically, that are trying to control everything, and they're willing to sacrifice half of the population, the human population, which is most of us, which is pretty much guaranteed. Anyone listening to this, me, pretty much anyone we all know. And I don't know, there's enough things going on in the world that kind of go align with this, that seem like this is what's going on. It's that terrible dark hole of like conspiracy that really gives me a lot of dread, but I don't think it has to, because I think this guy's been talking about this for a while still, and it's a fight, you know? We're all out here, we gotta like fight our fight, and that doesn't mean go like fight people physically. You know, don't bring weapons out on people unless it is to defend your own life. Of course, I support that. But I'm talking more on like a spiritual aspect, protecting yourself from spiritual oppression, from like, you know, your mind. Take care of your mind. Don't let yourself lose the mind you have, your spirit, your soul. Make things, create things, have free will, exercise your free will. They're trying to create a matrix around us, is how I'm feeling. And I don't know. There's more to this too. We're gonna like learn more too, but this is all I can really handle right now. We're gonna have to just come back. But this is mad interesting stuff, and I feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit, but I want to know more about it. So I don't know what else to say really, other than, you know, thanks for hanging out. You know, I'll be back next week. We'll Yep, that's about it, I think.